everyone. This is a video about Slovakia Divide, which is a 660k long bikepacking race and contains about 14,000 meters of elevation. It's an unsupported bike race, which means you have to carry your whole life for that time being, basically your sleeping kit, food, drinks, medicine, etc. There aren't really checkpoints on the route, although Aleš, the head organizer, pointed out some nice cabins where we could spend some time and collect ourselves and refresh. The philosophy of this route is to showcase the best parts of the Carpathian mountain ranges. And this race focuses on the Slovakia part. Aleš has been riding in the whole Carpathians across multiple countries for a long time now. He wanted to showcase the best trails without any unnecessary twists and turns and climbs and basically parts that would just make you suffer. So I'm very thankful for that. My approach for this event wasn't necessarily racing. I've been racing a lot this summer and past years as well. And with this event, I really just wanted to embrace the mountains and spend some time in nice fresh air where usually my whole personality just changes, and I tend to have like really good feelings and thoughts, and this one was like that. And in the end I was super happy I did it this way. I think most people approach the race the same, so they weren't necessarily racing, although the guy who did it, who finished first, I think it was a bit more than 4 days, 4.5 for him. My time was 6 days and 11 hours, and the time limit is a bit more than 8 days. So if you're interested and you aren't necessarily the fittest person around, I think there is a pretty good chance you can do it, and you will have tons of fun. The purpose of me making this video is to have the information out there and to have more and more people come and experience the outdoors in Central Europe, because we have amazing backcountry that is very approachable, very affordable, and provides you with tons of great memories. And Slovakia is not only my favorite because they have pretty much the best candy in the area, in my humble opinion, but spending time in the outdoors is pretty common there, and people expect you to be out there, and they aren't gonna give you side eyes if you walk into a store or a bar covered in mud. And I think it's pretty great. So please enjoy this video and come here and experience this.
Hey man, have fun? Yeah.
So the race started out pretty strong with a small climb, but everybody tried to show us how much of a man and a woman they are. And I was really hangover from all the Georgian cognac the organizers gave us the other day. So it was tough, but I decided to just stay back, try to enjoy an almost comfortable pace, but nothing felt comfortable, to be honest. Anyway, in these long events, you really just gotta hold on and try to pace it well. So that's what I did, and I think it turned out well. These weren't such hard climbs, so I mean, all in all, this first day was short ups and downs with a bit of technical terrain, but nothing to worry about. Actually, I was wondering whether the organizers were right that you shouldn't even attempt this event with a gravel bike, only a mountain bike. This part you could have done with a gravel bike, but what's coming? No, not at all. The next days were much, much more technical.
To už ťa bolí líp? Nebolí, ale tak preventívne, však nebudem oné, keď už ma bude boleť. A to je na čo? To je taký krémový puder. No, dá sa. Dá si teda nejaké holí.
We had a pretty fun pub stop, as you could see. And the rest of the day I took pretty chill, but maybe I shouldn't have because there was a super heavy rain coming, and I was in kind of a bad spot because I wasn't sure whether I could do the last big climb before the rain, but eventually there was a cabin in front of me, there were people there, so I wasn't too keen on sleeping there, but I didn't really have a choice. I decided to push my luck. And eventually I found an empty hunter's cabin. I was there alone, I had a good night's sleep, and there was an important tactical decision when I woke up at 5 a.m. because I checked the radar and it was still raining heavily, like the U-wing distance was like 2, 3, 4 meters. I was confident in my clothing and my gear because they were pretty waterproof, and in the end they held up well, but I just didn't want to push it, so I decided to go back to sleep, and I slept until 10, and I felt great. I started the day with a good mood, even though it was like raining heavily. And in the first city, I met Romek. He's around my age, which is pretty great since most other participants were much older, and he spoke great English, which was also rare. And we had a good day together. We were aiming for a restaurant and wait out the last minutes of the rain there. And we had a great meal with amazing drinks, and yeah, I mean, it would have been a bad decision to ride in the rain all day, and I think I made the right choice. After getting out of the restaurant, I was in a great mood, half drunk. I started singing, and the rain was already fading. I had just a bit of climbing before the big city where most of my friends were staying for the night. I messaged them, they got me a room in a hostel, so I knew that there is a warm shower and a bed waiting for me. Yeah, at this point, I wasn't aware that most of my bags leaked, and everything except my sleeping gear was wet as hell, so I was thankful and took the time to dry them out, packed it in the next morning, quick shopping, and then off for the next day. This day started pretty chill as well. Short climbs mostly, farmlands and villages. I was lucky we had Tomasz, who was a local, but he was kind of Hungarian, so we could talk. For those who don't know, Slovakia used to be part of Hungary. So many people are descendants of Hungarians, so they speak native Hungarian as well. And Tamás did, he was telling us stories about these regions and just stories in general. And also, like, I got his phone number, so if I got into a situation where I couldn't speak to someone, I could just call him and he would help. This was a bigger problem than I thought initially, because especially people, middle-aged people, didn't really speak Hungarian or English in that regard, but everybody was super friendly. I learned some basic expressions so I could get some food and water and ask around for directions as such. But even if I couldn't, I just plugged some text into Google Translate, and they were happy to communicate with me via phone. So that was great. And this day, especially the second part, we got closer to the edge of the regions that are populated, and the last climbs I did, they were around holiday areas, so I was looking out for some cabins. I couldn't find any, but luckily when I got into the last big town, there was a public water fountain, so I could refill my water. And initially I wanted to continue, but when I was rolling out of the city, I found a spot with a lot of light and noise coming out of it. This was the local pub, and there was a fellow participant, Mihail, in it, and he was super kind, and he got me accommodation for the night.
Hej, Vajco, za darmo Maria, nie Vajco.
Prvýkrát, ale plná krčma.
Tak keď ste prvýkrát, by ste mali všetkým popýtať. No určite, ja.
So I had a good night's sleep, and I got some groceries, so I was prepared for what's coming. The 220k part with no population whatsoever, and no opportunities for refuel except one restaurant, which I visited and spent time at, but more about that later. These were really beautiful lands. These were the parts that everyone kept talking about, with these so-called wild or nomadic mountaintops, and I was just fascinated by it. I loved it, and I was very, very happy I waited out at night and didn't continue like the guys, because there were a lot of hiker bikes, and missing out on these views would have been a horrible image to my memories. I try to embrace all these beautiful views and the spaciousness of these mountain tops. My thoughts really fly in these circumstances. I was starting to get into this reflective space of mind, and even though all the challenges of hiker bikes and getting the bike over big fallen trees, I was happy. I was just thankful that I can be here and enjoy this time. Even though I was alone, I really love riding alone in these circumstances. So I wasn't too keen on joining others, and shortly I arrived to this visitor center slash restaurant where I could eat some beautiful food and then shop some homemade products at the farmer's market. After the restaurant, there came a short climb and then beautiful downhills with amazing views, not too technical. I could look around and embrace the views. I just really, really enjoyed this part. And then came the night, or like the point where I think about the night, because usually what I do is to start planning ahead at 7 p.m. Because at that time I have a bit of headroom to adjust, and that was the time I met Ron, who is a great guy. He spoke perfect English. We had a good time together, and he actually had a cabin in front of us, which was a bit of a push into the night. The one thing I didn't really want it to do, but I decided to go with him and then do it. At the end, my Garmin died and I had to stop and restart it, so I fell behind and I chose to sleep on top of the mountain in a wooden cabin. It wasn't too warm, but I could sleep pretty okay. And in the morning, when I left, I met a lot of cows, like multiple herds of cows all around me. They are great companions. I really like them. They are pretty funny and they don't hurt you at all. Just be mindful. We had a bit of mud left behind the rain, but nothing too much. I could easily go through. Some of the springs were pretty flooded, on the other hand, so I had a bit of time without water, but still nothing to worry about. In half an hour, I could go and refill and continue these dreaded hiker bikes. Again, I made the right choice by sleeping on top of the mountain in the cabin. It was a bit cold, but a lot of hiker bikes came afterwards, and I don't think I could have arrived into Ran's cabin before 3 4 a.m., and that's not a pleasant thing to do, especially when you're cold and descending. The next 2 3 days were just pure joy. These really remote mountain tops with nothing but animals and plants. I mean, I can't even put it to words how much I love this pure, uninhibited, untouched nature. There were blueberry bushes everywhere, so even if I didn't have food, I could go and pick those for days because they were literally everywhere. There were some really hard hiker bikes, and getting the bike over fallen trees. So yeah, sometimes I even joke that this isn't a bike race. This is a CrossFit competition in the woods, because you had to carry at this point 1 2 kilo of food, 2 3 liters of water, and your whole life on the bike. My whole package was well over 20 kilograms, and pushing that over big rocks or lifting it over big trees was a challenge. There was one particular spot where it took me more than 15 minutes to get the bike around just one tree because I couldn't climb it. The branches were too long. I couldn't lift the bike over, so I had to walk around. But there were other fallen trees around, so I had to put down the bike, trek around, and then get it around. It wasn't easy, but I took it happily, actually. I was surprised by how positive I kept it there. I'm not usually like that, to be honest. I can really just flip and be a bitch about stuff, but somehow this setting just made me a man, to be honest. Yeah, really, I took each and every challenge as a good opportunity to make fun of it and enjoy it. And in a blink of an eye, I was in an amazing spot, enjoying a downhill or some beautiful views or some great local food or beer again. I mean, really, what more can you ask for? The highest point of the race was 1500 meters, but we generally stayed between 800 and 1200. That meant a bit of temperature fluctuation, but I dealt with it pretty okay even without a down jacket. There were a couple of mornings and nights where it would have proved useful, but yeah, dealt with it pretty okay. Um, this is one part why I didn't want to ride a lot during the night, even though I have a lot of experience doing that. Uh, I just wanted to, like I said before, enjoy every bit of, especially this part of the route, this nomadic part, because I knew that it's coming to an end. And on the other hand, it was freezing cold sometimes, even below 5 degrees Celsius. I could see the vapor of my breath in the air. And when I was climbing, I was warm as hell, but when it turned to a descent, I couldn't put enough clothes on myself. I was freezing literally. But during the day, it wasn't a big deal at all. There were some really windy spots though. It's crazy wind. I was on the verge of taking a cap, but I was happy I took it. I wore it under my helmet quite a bit, and especially the mountain tops, they had very, very strong winds, and my ears are pretty sensitive to it. So the cap proved to be very, very useful. The last night in the wide regions I spent in a nice cabin. The cabin was full, but there were some people sleeping in hammocks in front of it already, and it had a big porch where I was setting up my bivy. And Ivan came out. He woke up when he saw I came, and he told me that I really should go and sleep inside because in the past week there were bears there every night. I didn't want to sleep among six other guys, and I decided to push my luck. The other guys sleeping outside, they seemed very experienced and they had a floodlight with them, so I just put my pepper spray next to me and put all the food inside the cabin, and I had a very good night's sleep. Ivan didn't. He had to leave at 4 a.m. because he couldn't sleep anymore. Everyone was snoring inside heavily. So, again, I made an amazing choice. And when I woke up, I knew that there isn't much of the uninhibited land left. So I tried to embrace every bit of it. And actually, it was a bit tough with a lot of wind and fog and cold, but I knew that there is a ski center in front of me with hot meal and beer and all that. I wasn't too keen on staying there for the hospitality, but truth be told, it felt amazing to stay somewhere that is at least a bit warm. After that, I met this young guy in the forest. He was riding an enduro bike. His name is Jakob. He got super stoked about my bike. He's been wanting to try a pinion bike for a long time. And we had a good talk. I tried his bike. I haven't ridden a high pivot before. And then we parted ways, and I was surprised to find myself in an enduro track. It had some really sketchy features, so I focused on staying safe. And shortly after that, I was in the middle of Košice. I felt a bit weird. being among other people, but it was great to buy some food and then go on for the last part. At this point, I was already overwhelmed by all the emotion within me and all these thoughts that surfaced during the previous part of the race, and dealing with all these buzz of Košice. It was hard to focus on riding, so I really missed out on making some key decisions ahead. And since I didn't research the last part of the route properly, I was sleeping in a sketchy spot. I was woken up in the middle of the night when some shady people came to. I don't know what they came to do, but it looked like they were trying to rob the property I slept at. So yeah, I think they were more scared than me when they saw me, so they left in a rush. And I woke up feeling like shit. But this last day, it was pretty easy. And to be honest, I was crying all day. I didn't want this amazing experience to end. In one part of me didn't want to ride more, but the other part didn't want to go home. The best would have been to do the same thing, but without the bike. I was a bit fed up with the bike, but still, this, wow, I can't even put it to words, really. This last part was a great calm down. It's a very quiet forest with a good quality road, and I could collect myself and set all the emotion apart and got into Benatina, the finishing town, just at sundown. I rode this beautiful road downhill before arriving to the finish area, which was a guest house where the organizers have already put some meat on the barbecue and prepared some beer and shots for us, which was great. And yeah, I had a shot with everyone arriving after me, so you could imagine we were in a great mood. For the remaining part of this video, please enjoy some selected downhill footage.